guys? Your boy Philip here from Spinnercraft. Thanks so much for joining me, because today we're going to have a fun episode. We're going to talk about the Orbiter. Now, I've already done a video on the Orbiter, check that out. But today we're going to talk about Orbiter tricks and things you can do with magnets. It's going to be a good episode. Come on, let's get started. Alright guys, so we went over a lot of the basics of what you can do with the Orbiter in the previous video. We talked about how you can put it in the center and you can sort of just rub it with your thumb like a worry stone. You can put it in this inner channel here and you can sort of rotate it around. You can of course put it here where you can get your spin going. You can hold it by this part and you can spin the big base around, or you can spin it around that way too. So there's a bunch of different things, and also you can use it as a top. You can put this in here, spin it upside down, and spin it as a top on a surface. So those are some of the basic functions that most people are going to use, but I kind of like to go beyond that a little bit and to get into more of the fidget factor and almost sort of the game and play element of it. So I was kind of looking at this and trying to come up with my own sort of tricks and games that I could play with and then share with you guys, so you could try some cool magnet orbiter tricks as well. Now, if you've seen some of my previous spinner trick videos, you know that obviously I like to do tricks with spinners, and the same thing kind of goes with this. The first trick, which is pretty basic, would be a toss, right? You have the base and you have the ball, so the first thing would be to throw it up in the air and just catch the base again. Simply like this. Tossing the base, having the ball go around, and catching it by the base. Now the second trick that you can do is the same type of a toss, except you're tossing it from one hand to the other. Now very similar to the hand spinner, where you're doing the pinch grip with your thumb and pointer finger, throwing it through the air and catching it with a pinch grip here. Now you could always just throw it like this, you know, and some people sort of do that, it's more of a handoff. But try to throw it so at least the ball's going around and you're getting one rotation before you catch it. Sort of like this. Okay? Goes through the air, the ball goes around, and you're catching it by the base. Okay, so the next trick is also another toss, except this time we're going to focus on the ball, right? So this is a bit of a trickier one. We're going to hold it by the ball, we're going to toss it so the base goes in a circle, and then we're going to catch it by the ball. Okay? Sort of like this. And of course you can do the same thing from one hand to the other, like this. Then of course you've got switching how you catch it, so I'm going to start with the ball and then I'm going to end with the base. Alright, now we've got different types of ball drops. Alright, so we've got our base, and we've got the basic ball drop where we put the base in our hand sort of like that, or like that, and then you're just going to throw the ball up in the air and you want to get it inside the base. Now, it's not overly magnetized in there, so you do have to give it a decent toss if you want to drop it in there, and have to have it in the right place. Now your finger acts as a bit of a guard, so if it rolls on the side a little bit, it kind of doesn't get lost, thankfully. But you can try round two, which is actually holding it like this. Now there's no real room for messing up. If it doesn't catch, most likely it's going to either snap on the side here or if it's going to fall. So that time it went on the side, and that would be a base catch. Okay, now that we talked about the drops, let's talk about some of the magnetic tosses that we can do. Now, the magnet is right here, and that's really strong. Strong enough that you can have the ball, and you can do that with, right? So we discussed the drops and having the ball drop here, but that's not really getting so much of the benefit of the magnet here. So in order to get the benefit of the magnet there, we can do, instead of doing a vertical drop, we can do a horizontal toss and catch it sideways. Now you can't get too crazy with this, but you can do a short distance. You can do something like this. That's not what I meant. Now I like to throw it where it actually doesn't just hit and fall, where it actually kind of hits, does a rotation this way, and then falls, goes through the fingers. So now it's just all about working, combining those together. You've got the drop, you've got the toss with the magnet on the side, you've got some of the basics from the beginning, like you've got the spin, you've got the basic spin, you've got a lot of hand play where you can just fiddle and spin this around. This is one of the things I like to do. Basically, I'm breaking the magnetic contact. I'm spinning this in a 180, and then I'm letting it reconnect. And I can do that in my hand all day long, and there's something that's very fidgety about that. Also, when I'm spinning this, I'm putting my thumb right in here, which feels nice. I'm putting it in there, I'm rotating it, and then I'm letting it connect again. So, you know, you're combining that, you're combining the tosses that we did, you're combining the drops, you're combining all of those things together, and then you start to develop your own form of fidget play or magnetic spinner tricks rather. Okay, so you guys can do this in any way you want and create any combos you want. You might want to start off with a little base spin, and then from there you might want to go to a little base toss, and then from there, who knows, you might want to hold it in your hand and break the ball off. Maybe you spin the base around in the hand, maybe you drop the ball out and then go for a little ball drop. And then from there, once you've got your ball, you might flick it off, flick it back into this hand, and then throw it again so it connects on the magnet. You know, it's kind of creating your own little combinations, your own little things, your own little fidget factors and how it works for you. Sometimes I like to flip this and try to catch this base on top of the ball, and I do it in reverse. So it's kind of just taking it to the next level versus just doing that, and that's cool. And I work that into my combo too, because I might be sitting there and I might do a little spin, and then I might do a little flip, and then I might do a spin this way, you know. It's kind of creating those combos to make it fun, thinking outside the box when it comes to the orbiter and magnets in general. Alright guys, if you have an orbiter at home, I'd love to see what kind of tricks that you can do with the orbiter, or if you've made your own or just have a magnet and a ball, you can do this too. I mean, it's nice when you have the base because it's a little thicker and it's nice to hold and it's been designed to hold and it's a perfect fit for the ball, but you just might have the magnet, and that's totally fine. You can hook the magnet up with the ball and you could kind of come up with your own tricks too. If you guys do come up with your own tricks, I'd love to see them. There's no contest, there's no giveaway, this is just for fun. If you have your own magnet tricks or if you have your orbiter, definitely put those in the comments below. Also check out the link if you want to pick up the orbiter. I don't sell it, but it's such a cool toy. I wanted to show you guys because it's a really fun fidget, and it has a lot of that spinner quality to it. Because actually the ball is rotating around very much like a spinner. It doesn't have a bearing that generally a spinner does, but they're even looking at, people are even creating ones that don't have bearings now in magnetic anyway, so it's moving beyond that, and this is kind of a neat representation of a version of what that could look like. So check this guys out, orbiter, do some tricks, show me some magnet tricks, put them down in the links below. I'd love to see what you guys come up with on your own YouTube channels. Alright guys, your boy Philip here.